Spotlight. This is Akashvani. In the program Spotlight, now we bring you a discussion on India's historic clean energy boom. The participants are Upendra Tripathy, former Director General, International Solar Alliance, and Vaibhav J. Srivastav, anchor.
India is progressing in the field of clean and safe energy, in the field of clean and green energy with leaps and bounds. India is fulfilling its targets and meeting its deadlines way before time. In today's episode of Spotlight, we will be talking and discussing on the very important issue of India's historic clean energy boom. And to discuss much more on this topic, we have with us former DG, International Solar Alliance, Shri Upendra Tripathy ji with us. Tripathy sir, welcome to the studios of Akashvani.
Thank you.
Before this discussion, let's hear the words of Prime Minister Modi on clean and green energy.
आज भारत हर साल करीब 125 लाख करोड़ रुपए के पेट्रोल डीजल गैस का इंपोर्ट करता है। 125 लाख करोड़ रुपए हमारे देश में सूर्य भगवान की इतनी बड़ी कृपा है, लेकिन फिर भी 2014 तक भारत में सोलर एनर्जी जनरेशन कैपेसिटी सिर्फ 3 गीगावाट थी, 3 गीगावाट थी। पिछले 10 वर्षों में अब ये बढ़कर 130 गीगावाट के आसपास पहुंच चुकी है और इसमें भी भारत ने 22 गीगावाट कैपेसिटी सिर्फ और सिर्फ रूफटॉप सोलर से ही जोड़ी है।
Mr. Tripathy sir, you have been the former Secretary of MNRE and the Founding Director General of International Solar Alliance. You have been an active witness to the renewable story, or rather the renewable energy revolution of India since the year 2014. India is now seen as a global leader in clean energy, from the International Solar Alliance to large-scale renewable deployment at home. How has India shaped global climate leadership in the last decade? What sets India apart from other countries?
India has moved in an unprecedented way. I remember 2014 when Mr. Piyush Goyal was Minister for Renewable Energy and Honorable Prime Minister was the first time Prime Minister taking a lot of interest in renewable energy. We had hardly 3 gigawatt for solar power and we had a target of 20 gigawatt. Today we are much more than 100 gigawatt in solar. And how we made it possible, because we put various in motion. One of such thing was called Renewable Energy Invest, RE Invest. We brought in hundreds of industry people from all over the world and we put them a simple question: what do you want? We want 100 gigawatt. And whatever they told and whatever we did is history. But it is not only India who are trying to go more and more solar or bring in more and more renewable, because the world is facing an unprecedented crisis in terms of pollution, in terms of global warming, in terms of biodiversity loss, and we have to fight together. And that is where, we talk about India, world is one family. And this philosophy, the world being one family, the Prime Minister has put it from the beginning. Now, the whole thing behind India's progress towards renewable energy movement was that not only we move from 1G solar to 5G solar, and I'll explain what 1G and 5G are, but we share our knowledge, our means with all other countries who need it. And that is how India is kept apart. India is different from other countries. We share like a family. And International Solar Alliance was one such example. And this is the only international body which doesn't charge membership fee. UN charges $2 billion per year. IRENA gets some $33 million from Abu Dhabi. And Commonwealth Secretariat gets 52 million pounds. And ISA is one such organization where India told them, look, to share knowledge, to come to a common platform, to work for the world, you don't need to pay membership fee every year. But that apart, India started sharing its technologies through International Solar Alliance, getting every year people and talking to them what can be done. So this is how India's solar journey or the renewable energy journey has been different. And I must tell you, in 2015, when I was the secretary, we had a paltry budget of 1,500 crores in the renewable energy ministry. Today it is 26,000 crores, more than 10 times. And 80% of this money is meant for households, the rooftop solar. So India's journey has been, in a sense, universal. It's a collective journey of the entire globe, as well as it is a common journey for entire India, where we are trying to make renewable energy more accessible, more sustainable, and more affordable.
Absolutely, Mr. Tripathy, you've said a very, very important thing and rather highlighted the essence of India's working and India's ethos when you said that we embody the mantra of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. We don't just sell technology, we share it. We don't just want our benefit, we want the benefit of the whole of mankind. India has historically launched high-impact initiatives like the Global Biofuel Alliance, the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure CDRI, and the Big Cat Alliance. Tripathi ji, how do these alliances support India's climate diplomacy and global environment leadership?
This again, as I mentioned, India is trying to give a message. The message is that all we should aim is at the net zero future.
True.
It is true. Many countries have promised to be net zero by 2050. China has promised to be net zero by 2060. India has promised by 2070. But the philosophy behind creation of a World Biofuel Alliance is that biofuel, mostly related to biomass, the farmers and similar actors, plays a very critical role, not only in terms of improving or transforming the nature of energy transition, but also involving the poorest of the poor. And there are many countries in South as well as North where knowledge can be shared for Biofuel Alliance, and whether it is making ethyl alcohol out of straw or many other technologies where we can use biofuel. And similarly, we have created the Big Cat Alliance. We are talking about not only preserving the big cats, the endangered species, tiger and similar creatures, but we are saying that the biodiversity loss is one of the biggest problems. In human history, we went through 5 mass extinctions. More than 90% of life disappeared, and we are in the middle of the perhaps 6th one. But the philosophy that India is trying to project, less of diplomacy but more of philosophy, is that alliances like CDRI, coalition, we must have preparedness for the future if things go wrong. If extreme events called the heat waves, the unusual rainfall, the floods, the famines, the droughts, now, how do you handle them? How we can prepare in advance? And this is more so for poorer countries. So the message India is trying to give through ISA is that, look, we have to change the way we use energy and the quality of energy, the energy transition. We are telling that, biodiversity loss, we have to be ready that we don't undergo another mass extinction. The world biofuel, that we must take care of, agricultural produce and how we use the other biomass to the benefit of mankind, to the benefit of climate, and of course the CDRI. So behind all this, India is trying to give a message that, look, net zero is not only a mere energy phenomenon. You saturate the energy, you replace coal and your net zero is achieved. No, even waste plays an important role. 3% of the greenhouse gases come from waste sector. Dairy plays a role. Forestry plays a role. Agriculture plays a role. Transportation plays a role. Building plays a role. So there are many sectors involved. And we must address all these sectors to achieve net zero. That is the message India is trying to give to different organizations, and through this, that all we have to work together for a common goal.
Absolutely, Mr. Tripathi. The zenith of the purpose of any great policy or leadership change is that the policy or the program should benefit common people. It should benefit the common households. It should benefit the ground level farmers. Rooftop solar has become more affordable now. It has become more widespread. It has reached the nooks and corners of the country. What is the government's vision for rooftop solar for homes? And how can ordinary citizens benefit through reduced electricity bills and net metering?
See, this is the program like solar pumps that belongs to the mass, belongs to the average citizen. And any household with a solar roof is contributing to the cause of global climate improvement. Because, as I told you, India, although having an economy that is progressing very fast, more than 7% growth, but we have one of the lowest environmental pollution per capita rate. And we have also achieved our target 5 years before in terms of 50% installation coming from non-renewable resources. Our global ranking in renewable energy has gone on 4th position. But this program, when we are talking about rooftop solar, it has not only the advantage of not using land, but using the rooftops, not only reducing the expenditure of the household families, not only helping the cause of the climate, but it is creating something called awareness among the villagers. Even the students in villages study about solar. And now the point is, solar has reached the distant hamlets in India and in many parts of the world. So the sun is very kind. It doesn't charge us for solar light. So the philosophy of the sun giving you raw material, the input free of cost and uninhibited, it can flow. So this has created that sentiment of supporting renewable energy, solar energy, and that ultimately helps us to fight global warming.
Absolutely, sir. We're talking about the benefits of clean energy and the solar revolution that India has brought forward especially since 2014. Solar pumps being a very important part and a transformative part of today's agriculture. How are solar pumps helping farmers reduce the diesel usage, cut irrigation costs and improve their incomes while making sure that the air they breathe in are clean and the environment remains safe? And what scale do you see for this technology in rural India in the coming decades?
Oh, in fact, I'll tell you my interaction with a farmer. I asked him, how does it benefit you? The first reason he gave is that now he can get power during daytime, because in very, very earlier, the farmers should be given power during the night time, because that is when the excess power was there. And he used to go and sleep outside, control that electricity switch and all that. Now, all those hassles are not there. Daytime, he can switch it on and he gets power from sunrise to sunset. That is the first thing. And second thing, of course, he gets it cheap. And third thing, he also decides he would like to share water with the neighbor if he gets extra. And with the new models, the Kusum thing, we have a target of 2.7 million farmers. And it can actually go up, because if you look at every farmer needs water wherever it is available. And if it's solar, it is much better. Whatever our water reserves will permit without getting drier. And with the recharging technologies available, the farmers love this program, and this is a very desirable program. And things are moving into new things like virtual net metering that we are talking about for the rooftops, and the nearby pumps can be brought in. And with new technologies of farming, whether it's a greenhouse where vegetables can grow. So combining with the solar pump, the greenhouse technologies, new models are coming and new type of energy regimes are appearing. And once storage becomes cheaper, you can think of a village with its own distribution. Solar, it captures, it stores and uses 24/7.
Tripathy, which sectors, transport, industry, buildings, agriculture, must accelerate the most? What are the key aspects of India's aim to become a green economy and the target of 500 gigawatts of non-fossil capacity by 2030?
I'm very optimistic about 500 gigawatt. I don't think it's a big problem. Of course, one of the things is that we have to appreciate that the quality of solar is changing. Now, it may be costlier because this solar we would like to operate during night time. Now, how do you make it? Something called 24/7. So if you want solar energy to be available by 24/7, many states are coming up with very innovative technologies. They are coming up with mix of wind and a part of storage. And this is a must, because we have to spend a lot of money in the grid to actually absorb the solar energy from the systems. And as you told, we have already reached 50% in terms of installation, wind, solar and all renewable energy put together. So the future solar energy, which I call it the 5G solar, it has to be grid compliant. And that means they have to have a mix of storage, wind and solar, which the cost has to be more. We cannot compare it with the plain solar, which used to get earlier, the 1G or 2G solar. And that way, we would like all sectors to be electrified, whether it is industries or hard-to-abate sectors like cement, steel, or even heavy-duty, long-distance trucks. So every mechanical instrument that uses thermal electricity or that uses diesel or oil has to be electrified, and preferably that electricity should come from solar, and that is on wind. And that is only possible through the medium called storage. And that is where lithium comes in, and other types of batteries, sodium-ion batteries. So India has to look into all sectors. The world is moving very fast. New types of green materials are coming. New type of energy efficient technologies are coming, even in the renewable energy front. So all these things have to be captured, and we have to collectively try across all sectors to achieve that net zero by 2017.
Mr. Tripathy, we truly hope that India reaches its targets of clean energy and green energy much before the set deadlines, and it benefits the people of not just India but the whole world extensively. Thank you so much for your lucid explanations to such important topics and joining us in the studios of Akashvani. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
You were listening to a discussion on India's historic clean energy boom. The participants were Upendra Tripathy, former Director General, International Solar Alliance, and Vaibhav J. Srivastav, anchor. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of Akashvani. You can listen to it on our mobile app, News on AIR. This program is also available on our YouTube channel, News on AIR Official. You may share your feedback about the program through email at airnsdtalks@gmail.com or WhatsApp on 9289094044.
Spotlight.